Hello and welcome to the first video of a male's guide to the ultimate act of seduction and the relative principles of relationships between men and women. Now today I'm first releasing this channel and I'm really excited to bring this to you. It's going to be a complete conclusive guide to how to seduce, how to form a relationship with, and how to make that relationship lasting with any woman of your choosing, and you will be needing these following skills to do so. Psychological evaluation skills. You'll need communication skills. Some of you might need to work on the tone of the way you say things. Some of us are very monotone, some of us are very flamboyant, and of course that all goes into what the woman is looking for also. So in this video, it's not going to be too much on what to actually do, but just a snippet of what this program entails. And in every video I release on YouTube, I'm going to put a 5-minute clip out of what the session handles and the actual website bot version of this story. So let's begin. In the beginning, you need to understand seduction is something that makes a woman want to be with you. So maybe you think you're not attractive enough. Maybe you think you're not rich enough. You don't have the modern standards enough. It comes down to psychology on that, and usually everything in relationships will. So what you need to do is be confident, use breath techniques, keep eye contact, be responsible, and make everything sort of mysterious. So for example, a breath technique could be something like, well, just looking at her, right? And that could be very seductive in some ways. Now, if you understand you're a bit on the shabby side of the attractiveness thing, maybe don't go for a breath technique. Maybe go for conversational tactics. Don't use standard pickup lines. Don't use anything like that. Be very real with the woman you're talking to. And the reason you want to do that is because when you approach a real topic, that makes it very tangible because of its dexterity in the world around of the whole situation. Now, it doesn't have to be related to where you are. It doesn't have to be related to her. It doesn't have to be related to anything that's going on around you. Many guys fear when they approach a woman and they bring those three things up in the first things they say. Or they'll use a pickup line because that fear in those three areas kind of narrows it down to something we might say in conclusion to those three topics. So what I would do is come up with a thought map, like a bubble map or a spider chart, and come up with a series of different principles you can use to flip conversations in very interesting and mysterious ways. And going on to mystery, simply approach a topic. If you don't know too much about it, maybe ask a question. And if she asks a question and you don't know too much about it, you can say no, you can be honest, or you could lie. Either way, I would not recommend lying unless you've watched this full course because there are good things and bad things to lying. Um, but like Christmas for kids, that's a good lie, but it's not always good in relationships. Um, Now, what you do when you say yes or no is you might laugh after saying yes or no in a very negotious way to kind of persuade the woman, I might not be telling the truth here. You might look off to the side. You might take a sip of your beer. You might say, "Hey, waiter," or you might bring up your work or something and just try to relate it to it. Another thing you can do to stay mysterious is trying to relate everything to a job, everything to a hobby, or everything to a lifestyle. Now, everything she says, make it match with what you do. She'll become very interested within those two endpoints of what she's saying and what you're saying in that match. Right in the middle should be a dot. Now, I've actually come up with mathematical formulae in order to consider that a black body. A black body is an entity that um, emits energy, emits light, and is a non-reflective surface. So you're going to want to flip that at certain times and have it be reflective, have no energy, and no light, and she'll say, where did that go? And that will be key number one, is looking how to flip things from the inside out. That also goes into the physical manifestation of a long-lasting relationship through intercourse. A woman might see you as very probing, very oncoming, very forthbrought. And that might be good, that might not be, depending on the woman. So again, you're going to have to approach a woman like you know her. Approach every aspect of the topics you talk about like you know it, even if you don't. Remember, if it is something you don't know about, laugh or something. So me personally, I'm 24 years old, and I am a theory on relativity writer for a job. I'm looking to become a theoretical physicist. I'm currently in college enrolled, getting my master's degree right now. So by the end of the program, what you can expect to have as results will be a 100-page thesis that will be overbearingly true in every relationship that you can just flip through and understand exactly what to do. Now, it doesn't have to be 100 pages. The minimum required if you take my course is 20 pages, but you can expect up to 100 with all the things I'll be teaching you. And all of this is meant to be very off-putting at the same time as informational, because I'm really looking to get your attention here. I have different women that have given me different ideas of what they would like to do for different relationships. I've taken all that, compiled it down, mathematically broken it down scientifically and psychologically, biologically and chemically. And I found out that there's actually math and science that can make everything work. Just like the laws of physics make everything work in life, it can make a relationship work too. With that being said, just understand this is one technique I'll give you. With the truth and the lies. Maybe imagine a diamond, like a square-shaped diamond, an offset square. Now, in that diamond, you have a circle at the very center of it. The height of it is longer than the width of it. And now, with this diamond, you can also make it into an agave plant by adding those other 45-degree angles into other diamonds also spawning from one point. And you do this, and it makes an agave plant, which then you sit under starry skies in the middle of a garden in her heart. And you are in absolute love, as I address later in this video. The agave plant is also a metaphorical reference to another section of my class where I teach you about tea tasting and alcohol testing. Now, much like the agave, which can be made into tequila, there are certain plants that can be made into tea. There are also different breaks you can use, like having tea for an hour and talking philosophy. Be very intellectual, and you will have time to not be intellectual. Everything has its opposite. Everything has a static electricity. Everything flows. Everything with polarity can be flipped in one way or another. When you're starting at the bottom, it's a new relationship, and it makes a 45-degree angle. Now that would be in between 90 degrees and 0 degrees, which would give you an offset inverse 180 degrees. So that would be total separation. 45 would be the median cutting everything into 45. So 45 and 45, you get the 45-degree lines, right? As long as you stay there, you're good. So you're eating dinner one night, right? And she wants to get to know you a little bit. And you understand she likes a certain food. She's going to talk about a certain thing. You've talked a little bit over the phone. You've gotten some of that seduction done, and you've got your primitive information. So what you want to do is prepare the perfect date, something that you can manipulate as if it were a toy, and that you can turn a certain knob like it's a modular synthesizer, just to get the right measurements. Now your goal is to progress upwards to that circle. From the bottom of the circle, or from the diamond, you have a white coloration, and as you progress upwards towards the circle, but not inside the circle, it fades into black slowly. Now, what that means is you're going to get darker as things go along. You're going to come to a point in the relationship where things don't seem the same anymore because you know each other so well. But know that in that middle of the circle, there's going to be the opposite colors. It's going to be white on the side where the black is, and then it flips back around all together on the other side. So basically, you're literally making her a diamond out of conversation things. Now, at the middle of that circle where it's white is the golden lining to that black darkness. And what I urge you to do is to come up with some sort of negative situation at the middle, almost like a prank. So, and you use that in order to get her to that darkness and to overcome it in such a way that it heats up the relationship. It's friction, two sticks rubbing together. And you make her multiples of these diamonds until they match a certain pattern. You can pick out a pattern, and then you can present that to her with every romantic gesture you do after a certain amount of years together. So on the intricate level, you might take her to Subway and get a steak sandwich. You might say, this steak sandwich is really good. How about yours? You might bring up animal parables and hoaxes and conspiracy theories just to mess around on the first date. Maybe be talking about your job, how you're really wishing you could be like a very affectionate person because this sandwich really made, I don't know, something like the sandwich makes you feel like the cow shouldn't have to go through that, and neither should I or you, or something insidiously lame, and then move on to different broad things. You can test her with things like lameness. You can test her with things like very interesting topics, and you kind of make a pie out of it. And I'm being very vague in this video because I don't want to give away too many of the secrets because it is an ebook that is purchased. But no, if you make this woman a diamond and you sit there and after that diamond is complete, you can sit there on that hill with that beautiful starry sky out in front of you at nighttime, in the garden in her heart where she grew up, and you will be sitting there and you will be in absolute love with each other. And after the years, after so many diamonds have been made, you might make an opal out of it. You might make a square. You might make a triangle. You might make an absolutely beautiful, everlasting relationship. And that's what I hope to bring to you. So, gentlemen, welcome to the class of the ultimate seduction and the everlasting relationships. Thank you. My name is Thomas Tobin, and I'll be your host for this tutorial.